Of elocution, it's Aiden's Irene Moon.
You got that right. I'm definitely executing my elo.
Yeah,
it's been a rough week. Oh, also, fun fact: if you spell it with capital ELO, it's actually incorrect. It's somebody's last name. It's Arpad Elo's last name.
Oh, interesting.
Invented the Elo system.
Well, we're about to start up our second series where Liquid will face off against Phoenix1. Now, Liquid has gotten off to a slow start this split, but secured their first win just last week. Hopefully, they can keep that momentum going into tonight's match.
Yeah, and Liquid has a reputation of being a very emotional team, and the win over Echo Fox was a much-needed confidence boost for them. And against an easier opponent tonight, they have an opportunity to start a streak and move into the middle of the pack and get that momentum behind them. And with Dardoch back in the lineup, it seems to be good for Liquid, especially Lorlo in the top lane, who is reaping the benefits of the added jungle pressure, which actually, in terms of jungle proximity, Dardoch spends 16.2% of his time in the early game up with Lorlo in the wins, which is the most of any jungler. So when Team Liquid is winning, they are playing to the top lane.
Mm-hmm. And they have had those 3 wins with Lorlo in the top on those fighters. But the big story coming out of Liquid tonight has to be the substitution of Liquid Academy player Fabi in for Piglet at AD carry.
Yeah, if you've been around the scene for any number of years, you have heard Fabi's name. The Gatekeeper ascends to the LCS. No longer Challenger. Yeah. He's in the heavens now.
He's been around for a super long time, so this is his LCS debut. We're going to be keeping an eye on him. But on the other side of the rift, Phoenix1 are still on the hunt for their first win of the split.
Yeah, they have one game won, but they don't have any matches won. And they had opportunities last week against Envy and actually took a game off of C9, but they didn't capitalize. And this team has shown their players have good individual skill, but they're still lacking in that team cohesion. And coming into week 2, and now in week 3, it's not getting any better.
Yeah, Phoenix1 is making yet another roster move for game 1 of this series. Mash has returned, and Pyrian is starting as mid laner.
Yes, Pyrian starting in mid laner, so Slushy, who was playing AD carry last week, of course, no longer on that AD carry role. Mash is back, and there were hopes that Inori would be able to play this week in the jungle role, but unfortunately his visa was not ready to meet the deadline, and so Sentinel will be starting in the jungle again this week, despite the announcement they made that it would be Inori.
Yeah, and there were a lot of conversations about the sort of practice that this team has been having, and not being able to play too much with Sentinel and focusing on playing with Inori might end up hurting them, because now Inori, again, not being able to make it to that roster lock in time.
Yeah, we're talking about team cohesion and synergy issues, and when you're not scrimming with the roster that you have on stage, it's definitely playing a factor, right? It's kind of a no-brainer in that one, because the scrims, they're focusing on the future. They're doing what Echo Fox was doing, where they're scrimming with the lineup that is eventually going to play, not the one that is on stage right today, because it's kind of a sub-squad.
Yeah, and we're already seeing how that works out in results. But one permanent fixture of Phoenix1 is their support Gate, who shares the challenge of working with a rotating cast of players.
The support jungle synergy in competitive is the most important one. I'm pretty sure that if your team has strong jungle support synergy, it could just carry the game. So working with many different junglers the last week, and maybe just so far in my career, I feel like certain junglers you get along easier with and certain ones you do not. So it's definitely a struggle. You really have to meet in the middle with them.
It's a little bit of code there. It's like, we don't know. Is it Sentinel or Nori? Which one? But still, he's definitely talking about that jungle support synergy. You're usually in charge of the warding between the two of them and protecting each other. Especially when you have a Rek'Sai, you're kind of following the support around, like being his little radar, making sure he doesn't get caught out. So that synergy is incredibly important, and you're usually the playmakers of the squad too, especially with like Vladimir coming in, Swain coming in. It's usually the jungler who's starting the engages.
Well, we'll see if he can pick it up, but now it's time to get down to business with our starting lineups. First up, it is Liquid. In the top, Lorlo. In the jungle, Dardoch. In mid lane, Phoenix. AD carry, the Gatekeeper has ascended, Fabi, and support Matt with Coach Loco Doco.
Yeah, that's right, Fabi. 3 Bs, 3 Ys, don't get it wrong. And on the other side of the rift, it's Phoenix1. In the top lane, Zig, formerly of TLA. Sentinel in the jungle, Pyrian in mid, Mash at AD carry, Gate on support, and Charlie as the coach.
Yeah, and something that we were talking a little bit about last week with Team Liquid before they had taken their win was they were really looking for a win for morale. Well, now Phoenix1, they're a week late. They're still 0-4 in terms of matches. They've won a single match or single game, and they're still looking for that morale boost.
Yeah, and they definitely need to start getting some momentum in the standings because they're 0-4. They're the only team that hasn't picked up a match victory just yet, with Liquid picking up their first one last week. And if they win this one, then they tie themselves with Liquid and give them the head-to-head advantage. And you need to start crawling up those standings because it's week 3, 1/3 of the way through by the end of this week.
Yeah, the expectations are rising for Phoenix1, and a lot of these players have been around for a long time. Mash has actually been playing competitively since 2011, and he really hasn't seen a lot of success over the past 5 years.
Yeah, I believe he was in the first LCS split on GGU.
Yeah.
So he's been around a very long time. Zig has also been around in the challenger scene. Gate, we really first saw him when he was on Final 5 trying to qualify in challenger in the expansion tournament.
Yeah, a lot of these players are still looking for their big team break, and the hope is that Phoenix1 can pull it together over the course of this series, especially if Team Liquid shows some of the weakness that they've been showing over the past 2 weeks. But as you can see, we have entered into picks and bans for game number 1. Kindred, Sivir, and Zyra are going to be the first 3 taken away from Phoenix1. Rise and Vladimir banned away from Team Liquid.
Yeah, I was surprised at the lack of Zyra that was coming out in the last series because Zyra is an incredibly frustrating and annoying champion to play against, and it almost forces a lane swap out of your opponent, regardless of what AD carry you have, even if it's something like Sivir. So you can actually play pretty kind of lane passive AD carries and still have a Zyra dominate the lane for you.
Yeah, the Trundle is the first lock for Team Liquid.
Like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So Team Liquid stat-wise, they are, I believe, 3-6 in terms of their games, wins, and losses. Those 3 wins are 2 Aurelia, 1 Trundle. All the losses are 4 Maokai, 2 Echo. Every time Lorlo has played a tank champion in the top lane, a sole tank, Team Liquid have lost in this split. Every time he's played a fighter or a bruiser in the top lane, somebody who wants to split push or assassinate, they've won the game because Dardoch pays more attention to that lane and they're allowed to do that. And with Piglet out of the lineup for this one, it's actually quite interesting because Fabi doesn't need that many resources to turn online, whereas Piglet usually demanded a decent amount of resources and they would play to him. Now this might free up TL to play towards Lorlo.
Yeah, and the answer for Phoenix1 is a very aggressive bottom lane to put pressure on that potential weak spot for Team Liquid. It's Lucian and Karma.
Yeah, that's a very powerful bottom lane, and you can still pick Swain because you have the Karma to enable your engage, and now you have the Lucian, which, of course, Doublelift loves, and it's that whole lane matchup. But still, more picks coming through.
Yeah, Olaf locked in for Dardoch.
Yeah, banned all throughout the previous series up against Meteos, I believe, so they didn't want to see that. But now, Dardoch gets his hands on it, and there's a lot still on the table, right? Nidalee's still on the table, Graves, Gragas. It's not like he's being forced down this tier. So there's something happening in scrims where an Olaf was going off.
There were some conversations about scrims for Team Liquid showing some recent results. So this could be, hey, we found the secret thing. Olaf is the next big pick. But Ashe locked in for Fabi.
Yeah, and now Fabi playing that Ashe is going to be quite interesting because when we look at the champions that Piglet was playing, he did also play an Ashe game alongside a Zyra, so they had a lot of engage in that one. I remember that game didn't have a whole lot of picking going on, so as TL rounds this roster out, they could pick up something like an Azir or a Victor and be completely fine with the pick potential that they have in this comp with the engage.
Yeah, the next answers are going to be Shen and Nami, interestingly enough. That means Karma is going to Pyrion in the mid lane.
Ooh, okay. So that's going to be Pyrion's Karma, Wave Clear, incredibly powerful champion. Once you're able to actually use the Soul Flare, you throw it out and it does an immense amount of damage. And we saw Phoenix play this in playoffs where he threw down a fantastic Mantra Q, and then he got his Mantra back a second time because it cools down faster the more champions you hit with abilities.
Yeah, very strong champion. Meanwhile, Team Liquid still looking for their mid and support. Bard being hovered by Matt. He has not yet played it this split, and it's locked in. So this is the first time Matt is returning to that Bard since spring.
Yeah, and an Azir here as well for Phoenix. He's only played it twice, and it's been up many times this split against him. So going back to the Azir, this looks like comfort here for TL for the mid laner and the support. Matt has not played Bard like you said. Now we're seeing him back on it.
Whoa, Hecarim.
Yes!
The final lock-in for Phoenix1.
Okay, so Hecarim jungle was played in LCK one time. It's also terrorizing all of solo queue at the moment.
Yeah.
Where Ghost, with the lower cooldown, junglers are now able to get your flash, trade a summoner, and continue to dive you. It's absolutely oppressive if it gets ahead, and it can run through your turret. It doesn't give a damn, and it kills you, and then it'll come back when you have no summoner.
Yeah, this is something that we sort of expected out of Zentinel when he first showed up. Very aggressive solo queue style player, but hasn't had a lot of success in the competitive scene.
Yeah, Zentinel, actually quite oppressive in solo queue. He likes to pick things like Graves and live in your jungle. I don't know if he'll be able to do that against an Olaf, but I expect him to play to these lanes. If you are playing Hecarim for the farm early on, then you're not exactly playing him optimally. It's suboptimally at that point.
It is a little concerning. We'll see if he can pull it together as the coaches shake hands. Now, we are tracking your votes on Twitter to see who the fans are throwing their weight behind. Vote using hashtag TLWin or hashtag P1Win. Let us know, will it be the gatekeeper or will it be the gate itself that takes the win?
He's the gatekeeper, though, so what does that mean? Does that mean he absolutely controls that lane?
Oh, man, I have no idea, but this is going to be a pretty exciting match as everyone is getting ready. Some very aggressive champions out of both sides. I like how the junglers are both aggressive style junglers, and they've got champions that just go in and make action happen.
Yeah, exactly. Both these guys love to charge. They're going to be making constant use of the Ghost Summoner spell in the lower cooldown. I'll be keeping track of what boots they end up purchasing, because a lot of junglers are just huge fans of actually picking up the Lucidity boots for an even lower cooldown, but I'm expecting action.
And we have loaded onto the Rift. It's Team Liquid versus Phoenix1 on this Friday night. And right now, it looks like everyone is going for relatively standard items as everyone departs from their base. Frosty out of both Gate and Matt. And interestingly enough, Team Liquid, they send 3 members towards that top side. Might be looking to sneak in on that Hecarim. Oh, Zentinel
he's got Ghost, so if you can keep slowing him, he doesn't have a way out.
Oh, he's caught by 2 axes. There goes the flash snare. He's going to be locked down. First blood on Dardoch.
And that is the downside of taking Ghost as a summoner spell.
Yeah.
Having the luxury of getting over walls, making this instant distance between you and your opponent cannot be pretty much overstated. It's fantastic, but both summoner spells blown, multiple summoner spells blown on the side of TL. 4 total for 1, but they get the kill, and they get Zentinel's summoner spell. So very important there for that Hecarim, especially since it went over to the Olaf. So Dardoch is going to have a much easier clear right now. He's got boots, so I guess he'll kind of run through the jungle faster.
Did get a pink ward as well, so we'll see where he puts that down. As you can see, standard summoners after all of that, but Dardoch probably going to be feeling pretty good about this quick start. In fact, he's going to be invading on the opposite side, so returning to the scene of the crime. He feels empowered by the corpse on the opposite side.
This is actually really cool, because what TL are doing are they're saying, well, they're going to invade our bottom side. We killed Zentinel on this top side of the map, so they don't want to check this area, so you know there aren't wards over here, and then they start on this side. Zentinel actually could get triple buffed here.
We'll have to keep an eye on Dardoch's path.
Yeah, you should
He's
end up
heading
going
down right now.
across.
There's actually a defensive ping.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this is also the one side of the jungle that you would end up getting if you were TL anyway on the top side. So he's not going to get triple buffed, but it is going to be them having a much smoother start, because a lot of the times the support disrupts you early.
Sentinel was spotted out by the ward. You can see just to the right of him. So Team Liquid well aware that this is going on. The quick turret shove is going to start out. Sentinel coming back at the last minute to help his team out.
Yeah.
Up first blood right away.
Yeah, I got to talk to him, and he was like, yeah, I had a plane ticket to leave, and they needed me. So came back pretty much last minute, and Phoenix1 already, you know, that's not how you want to start off the game with that first blood going over. So they have to shake that off. It is a best of 3, so in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big, but it could be game defining for this one.
Yeah. He does have a great attitude, so we are expecting him to be able to return and come back into this. And that's true for a lot of Phoenix1. A lot of these guys have been playing for a long time, and they have the desire to win. They just haven't quite been able to pull it together due to a lot of different problems.
Oh, yeah, you want to talk about desire to win. Zig in the top lane, he was on TLA. He was on Team Liquid Academy. He went to Korea with Team Liquid to try out against Lorlo for his spot. and they ended up going with Lorlo. So Zig, instead of staying on TLA, went to Phoenix1. Now, if he can crush Lorlo in the top lane, be like, hey, you guys made the wrong choice.
Well,
You know he's motivated right now.
yeah, he's got his work cut out for them, though. He's playing the tank Shen versus the tank killer Trundle.
Yep.
So we'll see if he can pull it together and get for some of those kills. But of course, this is that. You know what? You guys didn't take me, but I can still outplay you.
Yeah, fun stuff, though, is although Shen, you know, he can get kind of destroyed by the Trundle, he does have a way to dodge all of Trundle's auto attacks, which is the main source of his damage.
Oh, Team Liquid looking for a sneaky gank onto Zig.
Zig remembers that game where he had no CS for 7 minutes.
Oh, yeah. He went out of his way this time to get 6.
Yeah. Hold on to every last one.
He's getting a handful. That's...
I believe it was Darshan who talked about as a top laner, every CS that you get in a lane swap is a gift.
Yeah.
So you better last hit it. Don't let other minions take it.
Yeah, especially in this lane swap situation. The duos now head towards the opposite side of the map. Looks like, for now, Phoenix1 are a little bit quicker to get their wave forward, as Fabi and Matt are on that side as well. So they're going to be looking for their own Tier 1 turret. And Fabi and Matt, the original TLA bottom lane, you mentioned it earlier.
So Matt used to be Matt Life. So this bot lane was actually Fab Life. Back when they played together on TLA.
The young Fab Life.
It's the Fab
Well,
Life.
he's back on the skill shot champion with Fabi, so we get to see the return of the Fab Life.
Yep. We'll see if it's a good life, though.
Yeah. Or a bad life.
Yep.
Yeah, looks like they will be able to get down the Tier 1 as junglers continue to clear it out. It's still pretty even in jungle CS. Lorlo is going to get exclusive golds.
Yep. And this is what I was worried about for Phoenix1, is that this is an Infernal Drake, and TL on the bottom side of the map after the lane swap are able to pick this up. And if you look at your map, Rift Herald is not up until 6 minutes. So there's no possible counter here on the opposite side of the map.
And Dardoch is going to get out with barely 120 health.
Yeah, as Olaf, you like to get low in the jungle, increases your attack speed.
Yeah. I always like to imagine it that he has a breaking point where if the damage he takes is consistent, you get his health low enough, he just regenerates it back up. The old lifesteal law.
Oh, where he... okay, yeah.
And if you can keep the damage taken low enough, you can just lifesteal it all back up. Unfortunately, it never worked.
Isn't there a video where like 2 Olafs hit each other for an hour or something? Because they have like full items and exactly the right amount of
I
life.
can see that happening. Whoa, here's Lorlo on the bottom. He's all alone. Does have his flash, though, so I think should be able to get out. Forced to burn it, though.
Yeah, they do get his flash, and he's pushed off this minion wave. Now, on the opposite side of the map, though, it is going to be Zig pushed off of that wave without having to burn a summoner.
Yeah, Zig playing safe.
Yeah, as soon as these top laners get level 6, especially Zig, you're going to look for some TP plays here, especially since it's double TP / triple global for P1 versus singular global for TL. And Lorlo, he's been split pushing, and TL's been finding success with that. But if Zig has a way to shut that down, possibly roaming to other lanes and getting fed, or maybe even going into the head-to-head, it could work out for them.
Yeah, there's a bit of trading right now. Dardoch and Sentinel were both very close towards that mid lane. Matt's going to clear out Vision, and Zig is going to try to catch a wave on this top side. But here comes Lorlo. Could be the first time these two meet in a competitive match since they played each other in Korea. Now, Pyrian and Phoenix are just going to trade it out a bit more. There's 3 members heading towards that top side. Dardoch's going up there as well.
Taking forward.
He's got to get out of here. There.
Everybody's up here. The big difference across the map is that Lorlo, the top laner for TL's in the top lane, and then there's nobody in the bottom lane for TL.
Yeah,
whereas P1 have Zig just kind of over here.
You can see Fabi getting the daggers along with that longsword is
Taunt
going for the rush to try breaking down these turrets. And yeah, they will trade it out. However, the gold is distributed among Phoenix1.
They're trying to make a play on mid here. Otherwise, you would back and catch this gigantic wave that's going to hit your bot side. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, the late recall.
It's like you're going to have Mash push that into your inhibitor turret, and you're going to lose all of that gold from those minions, whereas topside Zig is going to be able to soak this minion wave for himself.
Yeah, Zig's finally getting a chance to catch some of those minions. Looks like it's going to be Fabi gifted over the CS from that tier 2 turret take. So that will match the two teams up. However, if you take a look at the gold, 700 difference between the two. Minor incremental advantages here and there.
It's that first blood as well going over.
And that first blood.
Worth about 600, which is the gold difference at the moment.
But now here's another neutral objective being taken by Team Liquid. That Rift Herald.
Yeah, and if this goes over to Lorlo, English sometimes gets hard, then it's just another thing for this top laner to go off. They've been putting a large priority on this, and they've talked about it pretty openly that Rift Herald's an incredibly strong buff that sways the whole power of the top lane. So every time they can give it to their top laner, they will.
Yeah, picked up at the 9-minute mark, going to be lasting till the 29. Fabi could be caught. He's got flash. Gate lands the slow. There's an arrow ready. Oh, the bubble misses. Sentinel is going to dive in. This is a very greedy play, but they look for the kill. There's a stun. Stand United, and they get the kill. Phoenix1 answer 1-1.
Oh, they used so much for that. 2 summoner spells out of Fabi to get a kill. And that's, look at that, 4. The entire bottom lane there from P1. And they got Ziggs Stand United. Just a lot there, but Sentinel, good ultimate, a little bit off to the side. On his follow-up, I believe, is E. Devastating Charge was a little odd there. I'll have to see that again. We get Dardoch in the corner. His reaction. Goes in. Okay, so he didn't have it anymore. Sentinel had used it to close the distance. And yep, really good flash there from Gate for the auto tech to pick up the kill.
Yeah, good trade for Phoenix1. They do spend a lot, though, and that's a lot of cooldowns they're going to need, especially with Ocean Drake spawning in 2 minutes. And now that the duo of Team Liquid are on that side, they've got Teleport on Lorlo. Could be looking for that next objective over Phoenix1. Once again, just try to play them around the map. The one success that we saw from Phoenix1, however, was waiting for that late game in their one game against Cloud9.
It was interesting because that one game against Cloud9, they also took more risks, right?
Yeah.
That was the big thing, is now that you have a jungler who has Ghost and you have all these guys who are trying to be aggressive, just use your globals as much as you can. Try to get in there and take the risk.
They have a team built around enabling as well. Bonus move speed from Karma, catch and pick out of Nami, and the Stand United from Zig, so perhaps this could be the team comp that plays to that risk-taking style. Yeah,
it's pretty much double support as well.
Yeah.
So you have people who are going to catch your fall. If you look over at Purian's item build, he went for the Athenes, which is no longer that gigantic AP item. It's the item that when you do damage, the pre-mitigated damage gets stored as charges for when you shield another person, not yourself, or somebody else, and heals them, but he's going to need something more.
Furion, he's knocked out from the turret, flashes over the wall, takes a lot, and Fabi gets the kill. Gate gets knocked up, and he's destroyed. 2 quick kills for Team Liquid, but they trade one back.
Yeah. Matt ends up getting picked up there. He still had flash, wasn't able to actually get out of that fight, but a beautiful cosmic binding on Purian that hit Gate as well.
Yeah, so it is answered back, and it's still only 600 gold between the two. Now, Ocean Drake has spawned, and with that action, Team Liquid weren't able to get away as cleanly as they like, so they're not able to get it right away. Here's that play.
Great arrow from Fabi, and then Phoenix slides in, drops aggro. Matt gets the nice Q onto 2 members. Not able to get out. Not able to get out. Yep. Taunt came through from Zig there, and that gives him a kill.
Yeah, but that is a lot of cooldowns. Take a look at the ultimates for Team Liquid. 4 of them are gone. Matt still doesn't have his Tempered Fate. Phoenix1, though, they've got the full set except for that culling. And Zig on that top side with Stand United. Could try to look for this as Mash makes his way back down towards that lane. Mash actually showing a CS lead over Fabi over the duration of this lane swap.
Yep, close to having that call actually pop as well, which will pretty much get them back up there in gold just a little bit more. But we're seeing almost 1,000 gold lead at the moment.
Yeah. And continuing to farm it up. Keep that duo on that bottom side. Let Zig catch the wave on the opposite. Longer they wait, though, the more these cooldowns reset for Team Liquid, enabling them to make something happen. This is a big wave, though, so Phoenix1 are just going to try to zone Team Liquid away as much as they can, try to prevent a freeze, and then they might look for it. But Sentinel is on this side. He's spotted out by a ward, and there's Purian as well.
Yeah, and this is good by Phoenix1. As soon as you get a gigantic wave like that, you need to do one of 2 things. You either use it to make a play and get an objective, or you use it to dive the person, have superior numbers there, and you see this play coming a mile away. It's very telegraphed. You have this gigantic minion wave coming down here, and you're like, we can outnumber you because we know who's on the opposite side of the map. Deny all that CS and farm. But look at this, it's not going to be that easy.
Team Liquid are collapsing. Lorlo's teleporting in. Sentinel stunned against the wall. There's the stand united. He misses the smite, and Sentinel is going to be forced to get out of the pit. Ocean Drake secured as Phoenix1 abandoned ship. There goes a big slow, and they are able to get out.
Not only did he miss the smite, he missed the opportunity to use it. His smite is 570 damage. It got down to about 470 right before his devastating charge, and you can use your summoner spell smite while you're CC'd, and he didn't do that.
Yeah, Sentinel maybe panicking a little bit under the pressure.
Yeah, I'll have to take another look at it, whether it dropped out of vision or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, that's Dragon number 2 now for Team Liquid, and with another Ocean Drake spawning, it's going to allow them to siege pretty effectively and just stay on the map. Look for those picks with Fabi.
The other beautiful thing about the Ocean Drake is that it helps your jungler so much because it's combat with turrets and champions. So your jungler constantly has this regen.
Yeah, and again, with that fight with the Dragon, it really shows the same problems that we've seen with Phoenix1 in week 1 and week 2, was that they've been playing reactive. They really seem to lack a direction in these fights, in their map movements, in their shot calling. And when they play so reactive, that means that they end up getting a bit scattered during these team fights where Team Liquid are trying to just brute force through and break down an objective. Team Liquid will find some damage onto this tier 2 now. Again, just trying to rotate around the map, keep Phoenix on their toes. But again, Phoenix1 need to be more decisive in their calls. They have the team to do it.
The only problem with this team is their engage is really running straight at you. Either landing a bubble or being sped up by Pyrion or Sentinel charging in. So it's all very telegraphed. Maybe a taunt flash as well. But TLs, they have the sneaky engage, right? They have the Bard ultimate, the Tempered Fate to catch people out. They have the Ash Arrow from across the map to catch you out. So TLs is a little less telegraphed. You can't see it coming as easily, and it will take you by surprise, especially if you don't have flash.
Well, maybe that's something that Phoenix1 need, is the hard, okay, we're going in.
Yeah, they need a go button, right?
Onslaught of Shadows.
Yeah, they can throw Nami Wave, but these are all kind of soft engages / hard. I guess they're kind of hard engages, but I always consider a hard engage the one that's like a fight is going to happen if you land it, right?
Like the Equalizer or the Sivir,
or like a Maokai W, things like that.
Just a clear, crisp, we're going to fight you.
Vi Ultimate, I think, is the best example.
Yeah.
Somebody is dying, it's you or me. Either I'm killing you or I'm in your backline, and I regret every decision I've ever made.
Someone's going to die. Uh-oh, Sentinel looking to collapse on the 4-man of Team Liquid in the mid lane, though he's on top of a ward. Phoenix not doing a great job at clearing out Team Liquid's vision right now, and that's exactly what Liquid need to look for a pick. They've caught Sentinel. He still has the onslaught. Tempered Fate catches Mash. They might look for more. He goes back in, but he goes too far. He's actually able to get a kill as Zig hops in as well. He won. Mash looks to clean up. That's 2 for 1 in favor of Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix won. The gold right now almost even. They're going to be able to clear out this minion wave in mid. Their wave clear, not incredibly good, but they're going to get a lot of damage on this turret. And he has to zone Phoenix off. You can't let that wave clear get close again. And good job, good posturing from P1 to keep them off.
Yeah, well, I guess we figured out their go button now. It's not just Hecarim or not just Gen. It's both.
It's also let the other team use both engage abilities and then turn it around on them. It's the counter engage strategy. And if that's how P1 need to play it, then you need to get to objectives first. You need to get to Baron first. If it's up, you need to get to Dragon first if they're going to contest it, and make them try to engage on you.
That's what we just saw with that first Ocean Drake that spawned 4 or 5 minutes ago. And they weren't quite able to execute. Matt,
they weren't ready
for it. He's going to find Zig. Yeah, just looking for a bit of harass. There's actually no turret here. Here comes Lorlo. Zig has his teleport.
Pyrion has his teleport as well.
There's another teleport as Pyrion looks to catch up. Sentinel tries to chase. Lorlo will turn and fight. It's top laner versus top laner with the team helping out. And with the subjugate dropped, Lorlo feels empowered. Here comes Dardoch trying to catch up. Cosmic Binding is going to miss, and Phoenix1 escorts Zig to safety.
Yep, and this is Phoenix picking up the mid lane turret in the meantime. And also MASH was bot side, so Team Liquid knew that they could either get that mid turret or they could throw an arrow top and get engaged.
Yeah, you can really see the priorities showing the difference between the CS. Phoenix has been hard farming against Pyrion because Pyrion's trying to help people out, whereas MASH has been left alone. So
yeah.
Try to let that carry do damage as much as he can.
Yeah, and then you look over what Fabi and Matt have been doing. They've both been roaming around. The kill participation of TL really high on everybody, save for Lorlo, who's just been doing his split push thing on Trundle. Not unexpected at all.
Yeah. So minor CS lead for Lorlo, but again, Fabi down just a bit. Ocean Drake is up in 50 seconds, and Pyrion has no teleport, so he's got to stay in the mid lane. He's got to stay on this side of the map. Here we can actually see Gate looking for a few wards, but Matt's already spotted him out and is going to try to clear out this deep vision. Lorlo's even on that side.
Yeah, if Lorlo gets chunked out here.
Yeah, forced a flash. There's even a tidal wave.
Yeah, goes out a little bit wide. Lorlo is going to get healed up, so he won't have to back and use his teleport to get in, which is what they were hoping for. They were hoping to get his teleport. They got his flash, so the Trundle has to kind of waddle in there to actually get up. And Zig's been split pushing this entire time, and he's got both Standing Knight and teleport.
Yeah,
So.
Team Liquid, though, they're looking for that vision. Again, try to find a pick. Might be Gate.
Ooh.
Ooh, it misses. He dodges both. Sentinel goes in, knows that the CC is gone. Mash is on the side, relatively untouched. Zig is on top of Fabi and is solo killing him without the help of his team. Mash finally gets caught by Dardoch, who kites it back out. But Pyrion, a little bit too late to the action, forced to flash over the wall as Matt takes a long journey to safety. There goes a stun. Ignite is ticking as well. Pyrion should be able to get away from this one. Yeah, he drops a slow. That's going to end up being 3 for 1 favoring Team Liquid.
Zig hanging around here. A lot of TL members got kind of low there. Matt got really low right off the bat. But Gate, with the quick feet, able to dodge the arrow. But he still goes down, as well as Mash and Sentinel.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't get the really hard engage, it seems like P1 want to take these fights, which is good to see.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you throw enough hooks, eventually you're going to get a bite, right? And that's what they're looking for.
Eventually finds an acorn.
A nut, yeah.
Yeah. But that's Ocean Drake secured by Team Liquid off the back of the fight. They decide not to push down the tier 2. And with 2 Ocean Drakes and an Infernal, Team Liquid are looking set to transition towards these team fights.
I just think about the saying, because blind squirrel eventually finds a nut. I don't know if that one's exactly right. I wouldn't call P1 a blind squirrel, right? I'd say that they're at least trying. They're throwing these things out there. Zig goes through, taunt flash onto Fabi, make sure Fabi can't do any damage, takes him out. And then P1, look at this, again, trying to make picks.
They drop the slow, there's the tidal wave, but here comes Team Liquid. There's a hard engage from Zig, but he leaves his carries out to dry. Gate goes down. Pyrion is going to drop as well. Phoenix picks it up, and Dardoch should be able to lock Zig down with some slow. That's a triple kill
Baron.
for Phoenix. 4-0-4. Dardoch is 4-0-5. Baron has just spawned, and Team Liquid are going to try to burn it down.
Yep, 21.5-minute Baron here. Sentinel has ultimate, almost has his smite. It's a few seconds away, puts down the pink.
Oh, there's
he dodged it.
It misses. He goes
that's
up
too
the wall
early.
too soon. It's at 2,000 health. The color
he's trying to get it down.
low, but Dardoch is going to get the kill, and the Baron Mash is forced to retreat. That's 4 members of Phoenix1 dying to Team Liquid successfully taking the Baron.
Oh, that was so close because Mash started using the culling and it was hitting the Baron on the backside, getting it low. You want to stop damage on the Baron, and that's exactly what TL was doing. But then this sneaky Lucian comes up, almost gets it. Almost a brilliant play there from Phoenix1. But yeah, 5,000 gold lead now for TL off of that play where they had counter-engaged top and then they had more people collapse. Mash was in base during that time and Sentinel was just coming out as well. So it was a 3-on-5. Definitely not in favor of Phoenix1 there.
Yeah, you can see all of the vision around that pit. Here that is once again so close.
It's a good dodge. He dives in because he doesn't know, and then it starts tickling the Baron's back. It's going down so low.
Yeah.
It gets there so quickly, too. It was an unexpected amount of damage.
Well, that's how you steal it, right? That's why Elise and Lee Sin are so good with the execution damage. It's so hard to smite it on time.
Yeah, a lot of the times you have to pretend you're the Elise and be like, okay, what time would I hit Q and smite?
Yeah.
And then you have to pretend the Q is your ability, in a way.
use the enemy's skills against them. Team Liquid seem to be content to do that against Phoenix, as now they've secured the Baron after picking up a few kills. It's still only a 4,000 gold lead 20 minutes in, but this Baron buff is going to enable Team Liquid to just hard shove and break these turrets. Zig is split on the other side of the map with Stan United. Seems like he's content to trade this tier 2.
I don't know if
Liquid aren't going to stop at 1.
I don't know if he'll be able to trade effectively either, because immediately we see TL going towards the mid lane with this Baron, and a catch on Aperion.
Yeah, Aperion is caught. Lorlo is going to be the one who gets the kill. 2-0-4. Once again, the fighters for Team Liquid, the heavy prioritization towards that top side ends up working for them. They're continuing to shove forward. It's a late recall for Zig. They break the tier 2 and the inhibitor turret. They're even going to get this inhibitor.
And TL showing a lot of prowess in this game. And synergy, I guess. Everybody through the Bard portal. Magical journey to get out. And honestly, only the bottom lane has even suffered any casualties here. They're all 5 of the deaths. Everybody else, the solo laners and jungler, Dardoch, a lot of these heavy carries are doing work. And that's the thing, is this Ashe, Fabi, is not really a traditional carry. He's the engage. The bot lane is almost in charge of all their engage, save for Phoenix is diving in and thrusting somebody back with the Emperor's Divide. But they're pretty much the bots that start the fight off at the bottom side.
And this is something that we didn't really expect from Fabi. I mean, in the past, he has been known as the guy who will single-handedly either win you the game with an amazing mechanical outplay or kind of throw it.
Yeah, long gone are the days of Fabi's trolling solo queue and challenger and figuring out whether or not you're going to make challenger that day based on the flip of a coin. He's become much more consistent. On Team Liquid Academy, Fabi became kind of the poster child of consistency. The roster was changing around him. He lost Matt. He lost Dardoch.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he still stayed the same high-level AD carry, which was quite impressive because he didn't have any competitive performance previously. He'd just been playing at a high level for many years. And then he came in and said, you know, I want to take this seriously. I want to actually give it a legitimate shot. And then he found it was incredibly fun. He thought it was way more fun than solo queue because the coordination is something that excited him.
Yeah, with the Baron, though, Team Liquid and Fabi look to break down another inhibitor. That arrow is up once again, and Fabi, I'm sure, is scanning for those targets. The moment someone overextends. Zig is splitting with Lorlo, the two people competing. And that siege will continue for Team Liquid on this bottom side.
Yeah, the siege right now, wave clear, definitely in favor of Team Liquid.
Lorlo actually is going to group up with the rest of his team, and as 5, Team Liquid just shove forward and break the turret. As Phoenix1, despite having the engage, the rush to get in, cannot fight. Phoenix1 cannot fight. Team Liquid can fight it.
As soon as you get behind with a comp that wants to run at you, and you have to run through an Azir, hits gate.
Yeah.
Gatekeeper's got it out for him now. Stay there.
Gatekeeper hits the gate.
Funny. First blood.
Skill shots are going to land as Cosmic Binding finds it. Zig zones away. Dardoch gets pulled in. And Phoenix1 are able to disengage, but Team Liquid don't want the kills. They want the Nexus. They want to end the game.
Yeah, all they have to do is get that last inhibitor, and then they get the double super minion spawns. And it's pretty much, you have to play by the book from there. Mountain Drake is up. I'm not sure how much use it'll be to TL, because there's only really 3 structures left for them to kill.
Well, Baron's up in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
10% bonus damage to Baron, plus, I think, 8 minutes until that Elder Dragon, so good look for that. MASH doing an excellent job CSing right now. 250 over Fabi, trying to fill that hard carry role with the classic Essence Reaver Death's Dance instead of the current style of the armor penetration. Unfortunately, though, he's just not able to find a good position in these team fights.
Yeah. MASH with the old school Lucian build. I call it old school now, but
it wasn't old school a month ago.
Man, that Lucian build, it's so March. It's so April, man. Lord Dominic's Regards is also interesting as well, because Lorlo, he's going to be healing a lot. Dardoch's going to be healing a lot.
Yeah.
Matt heals a lot of people. Actually, it's a little deceptive how much the Bard will be helping people out and assisting them with it, but I can understand it. You want to see those big numbers.
Yeah, that's 3 items finished. Let's see if those 3 items will help him defend this last standing inhibitor turret. the siege begins. Mountain Drake is secured. Bonus 10% damage to that turret. As the minion waves are escorted in. Again, Lorlo in the mid lane, trying to keep the pressure for Phoenix1.
Yep. And you can see Phoenix has been pushing those turrets, putting them down, making sure that they're always behind them when they siege. He's done that mid lane. He's done that here. And this might be that turret going down.
There goes the hard engage. The turret does drop. Zig is caught away. He gets a huge 4-man stun. Sentinel follows it up. Mash is trying to get in there, but he just can't find an entry. Zig is going to go down. Gate follows as well, and Team Liquid chase. Cosmic Binding misses, but that's all 3 inhibs and 5 versus 3. Team Liquid are looking to end the game and take this match against Phoenix1.
And Team Liquid, we talked about how they are a team that is emotional. Won last week's match. They won game 1 here. Coming into game 2, that's got to feel good.
Yeah.
It's got to give them a little boost.
Very commanding play against these team fights. Force the vision, force the picks with Fabi, enable Lorlo to split push, and then just clean up any mistakes that Phoenix1 were making. Very confident play from Team Liquid as they're getting back into this. You can tell that win last week really did help them. They just look like a completely different team.
Yeah, well, they have a completely different member as well. They have one guy, and one guy's completely different. So Fabi coming in, playing the Ashe, and having a lot of just throw the arrow out, engage. I remember seeing an Ashe that was kind of hesitant to pull the trigger. It's like, I'm waiting for the perfect arrow. You don't always have to wait for that. We saw him throw them out, and they would hit Gate, and it's like, okay, maybe not the person I want. Gate would dodge it, and they'd still engage. Right, so I think that there's a lot of positives here to having Fabi in the lineup, and he already has synergy with Dardoch and Matt, and they've gotten along together historically really well because we were always hearing about those TLA scrim results.
Yeah, they definitely pulled it together in that win. But now for a deeper dive, let's kick it back to Dash and Jat.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Team Liquid going to be happy to have picked up a very decisive victory over Phoenix1 in the first game of this series. Of course, Phoenix1 is still our bottom place team, the struggling roster of all of them. So we're going to have to temper some of the
Fabi, greatest player of all time, 100%
Exactly.
win rate, never lost when he's the starter in LCS. Yeah, it's, well...
And we'll discuss his debut, but really the tone of this game was kind of set by the first blood. It was one of those things where Phoenix1 gets behind. Team Liquid has the allowance to do pretty much anything they want to do without fear of being punished by the team composition that Phoenix1 had built.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just looking at the draft phase in particular, the Hecarim is kind of cool to be pulled out. You get to see a Karma in the mid lane. All those things are well and good, but then if you look at the whole layout of the team composition, it was very much a low-damage team.
Yes.
Karma building Athenes is the first item. Shen is never going to be a high-damage top laner. Hecarim didn't build the Trinity Force. Like, I thought that's the whole reason you pick Hecarim is so you can build the new Trinity Force because it's so good on him. Yeah. But they didn't do any of those things, right? So it was pretty much on Mash to do all the damage. He got zoned out in team fights by Dardoch. Just Dardoch, pretty much, in a lot of these fights was soloing him. So... with that, they could stay in the game because they picked relatively decent laners, but beyond that, they weren't able to do much.
Yeah, exactly. Low damage, had no threat to get back onto Fabi. The Azir pickup being huge was mentioned by Zyrene. If you're a team composition that needs to run at people to start a fight, Azir's the one thing that you don't want to play against, which does make me wonder why, especially against the likes of Phoenix, if you are planning on running a team composition like this, where's the Azir ban at?
Yeah, and if you're a lower damage team composition, like, Azir is great against tanks. He has higher sustained DPS on areas than pretty much anyone else I can think of. So you're like, all right, Hecarim can dive on him. He's going to blow him up one shot. No, he's not. So either their champions needed to be different or their builds needed to match the need of the champion.
Exactly. So ultimately, maybe hamstrung a little bit by their own champion select. Now, if we jump into the game, I do want to go 20 minutes in because Team Liquid did have a fair amount of control throughout the majority of it. But here is where we really did kind of see that for Phoenix1, or even with the missed arrow.
And this illustrates our point fairly well because it's a failed initiation on a gate. But then if you watch the way they came in, Pyrion never makes it in on Karma, so he's like a little bit damaged. But watch how Mash on the right side of the fight there just gets soloed by Dardoch as he runs into the turret, and that just allows the rest of Team Liquid to kind of do whatever they want because with Karma out of the fight, it's literally a tank Hecarim and a Shen.
Right.
And
I was going to say,
They're not gonna be able to do much.
even though Zig did manage to kill Fabi pretty early on in that fight, doesn't matter when both ADCs on both teams die, but you have an Azir versus a Karma that's literally sitting on an Athene's. As you mentioned, the damage per second from both of these teams that remains far in favor of Team Liquid. So ultimately, a huge victory for Team Liquid in terms of making it clean. Again, we do expect that against a team like Phoenix1 with this Team Liquid roster, but as they are bringing in Fabi and, Dardoch having come back in, this is going to be a feel-good win for them.
Yeah, and they had such a rough start to the split. It's important that all of these guys gain momentum as they move throughout the rest of the split. And, we don't know how far-reaching this Fabi versus Piglet AD carry thing is going to go, but the more wins and the more momentum they can pick up, the better. And if it unlocks the rest of the team to play more of their style and we get to see more Dardoch running wherever he wants, that's a good thing for Team Liquid.
All right, player of the game here was close, but it is going to go to Phoenix, 5-0-7 on that Azir, primarily just because of the amount of damage dealt.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the damage dealt the champions in that game, as I'm sure you'll be able to check on all esports in the little match history section. It's my favorite thing to do after the games. Yeah. But he's been slumping as well, and obviously that doesn't factor into the individual player of the game decision, but against the full tank team, him getting so fed so quickly really just allowed that game to convert. We've seen Reignover have some Olaf games where he gets a bunch of kills at the start, but he can't carry through the game. Phoenix really finished this one off with how fed he was able to become.
All right, Dardoch would have been the other player to look at just because, well, one, he did pick up that first blood, and then with that early boots purchase off of the first blood gold, just kind of zipping around the map, looking to create chaos, and ultimately, in that fight that we saw, for example, being the backline threat. There was no way for Phoenix1 to stop an Olaf with his ultimate on because tidal wave's going to go straight through him. Bubble's not going to hit. It was just kind of well.
Basically, you speed him up with your mid lane Karma, but then you're like, what are we doing with our lives, man? You're using everyone to peel for Mash. That is actually a player I do kind of want to talk about a little bit, even though he's been out for a week. If you look at Mash's statistics, and this kind of carries over to last split as well, he takes such a large share of gold. He freezes a lot of lanes, the team loses map pressure, and then he fails to convert it into damage. He had the highest CS per minute of anyone in the North American LCS coming into this week, and the 8th highest damage for AD carries.
Right, something doesn't compute here.
Yeah, he is taking way more resources than he is using on the map, and that has to get better.
All right, and now, interestingly enough, Slushy is going to be subbed in to the mid lane for Pyrion. So, once again, I mean, this roster just still not finding its home. Last week, Slushy was playing ADC. Now he's back in the mid lane role. So, I can't imagine things are going to get any easier for them in Game 2. It is a different landscape of players, so maybe the idea is just as we change play styles and roster, maybe we find something that works.
And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This sucks for Phoenix1. They need to find something, and they need to find it quickly. The season's only so long. As Irene mentioned, after Week 3, you're a third of the way through, and it's highly likely they'll be a third of the way through the season without a win. You can only hope that they find some type of magic and pull out a win.
All right, and they've got about 3.5 minutes to find the magic for Game 2. Slushy might be part of their answer here, but we're headed to a break, and when we return, it's Game 2 between Phoenix1 and Liquid. Don't touch that browser. We're back in just a few minutes.